Welcome back to Restauranttopia. Sometimes you have a guest on and the content's too good and you can't have a 2-hour episode. You got to split it in a couple different segments. And here we are with Abe McCune doing the exact same thing. Abe's of Eat Local, Ohio. And if you missed part 1, you can tune in to part 2 right now.
Imagine a perfect world where you can build a restaurant, open the doors, and make loads of money. Unfortunately, those days are over. It takes great leadership, hard work, and long hours to operate a successful restaurant. Together, we can make it happen. This is Restauranttopia.
But past that, Abe, what are some tips and tricks you're seeing out there?
So as far as just ideas for like simple content that's easy for people to put together, but I think is still powerful with what people want to see, building a dish or building a drink. It's the simplest thing in the world. When I think of building a dish, go back, get your chef, get your kitchen manager and say, hey, what do we want to sell this week? And whatever dish they're going to create, probably going to be about 5 or 6 steps, 5 or 6 action shots of what they want to see. It might be a steak being flipped. It might be some shrimp hitting a saute pan and it flaming up. It might be whatever other component on that dish of the like the plating. Maybe it's going over a risotto. Maybe it's getting sauced at the end. But whatever 5 or 6 little action shots you can get, just get a little 5-second video.
And those videos are wildly popular. You see a lot of composition videos, whether they're building a house or building a deck or making a dish or something like that. Like, for whatever reason, that's captivating. Yeah. And we dial in.
I watch I was just watching ramen noodle and how they make it in the factory.
Were they stretching them?
No, it was something different where it was all the mechanisms of them putting it in the bowl and dropping the seasoning in over top. But yeah, we want to see how things are created. We want to see the process.
Yeah. And so that's what you're alluding to.
And that's what you're doing. You're taking the 5 or 6 components. I always think of when I'm building a reel, I literally want to get rid of anything that I don't need. If it's 1.7 seconds of something and my eye gets bored before that 1.7 seconds is done, take it down to 1.5, take it down to 1.3 seconds. I always find that like that magic window of opportunity where my eye gets bored looking at the same thing is between 1.7 seconds and 2. Like after 2 seconds, it has been there way too long. It's amazing how ADD we've become because everything is constantly, quicker, faster. But condense it down to the most perfect drizzle or shot or flip or whatever, and that's what. Get rid of all the fluff. Like I said, the biggest thing the algorithm looks at is, did they finish the video? Yeah. If you can tell the story in 7 seconds, why are you taking 10 to do it?
So do you write watch till the end in there?
Never put that. Wait for it.
Wait
till the end.
Right, no, I've seen that a couple times, and I got caught watching the video. It's like, watch to the end. I'm like, wait, did
Usually
it just start over?
Usually that's my cue to get off.
Did it just start over
Slide
again?
Through.
Then I watch it through again. I'm like, wait, did I just start over again? And I'm like, I'm trying to wait for the end, but I'm pretty sure this is on loop, and I got 5 views in it, right? Like, all 10 seconds. Anyway.
Yep.
So what else you got going on there as far as like social media trends or things you're using that are amazing that operators can leverage today to their financial benefit?
Well, going back to what other kinds of content I think are good for stories, if you have the right staff that is, excited to be a little bit of the face of your restaurant, utilize that, If you have fun bartenders or bubbly hostesses or people that aren't afraid of the camera, the worst thing that you can do is try to get someone that is camera shy and have them be a personality.
Right.
And I've actually seen this, unfortunately, under my advice, get your staff involved. And it's like, so they do like hey, we're going to show our staff tasting their favorite things. And like out of the five people that they had like tasting their favorite dish, 2 of them were like, ooh, that was painful. Yeah. You can tell how nervous they are being on camera. Don't put those people on camera. Right, you know what I mean? Right. You try to do a chef interview with a guy that's shy. It's like, this is painful. Yeah. Play to your strengths. Yeah, play to your strengths. Find the people. If you have the people in your company that are excited about it and want to be excited about it on camera, use them. So, getting your staff involved in stories, that's when just saying, hey, this is the feature of the day can get boring. But if you have like an energetic, like personality talking about it and you can see their excitement, use it all day long.
Yeah,
you know
that's
what I
it,
mean?
man. And you're talking about pulling back the curtain and let people in on what your culture's like, what your operation's like.
Yeah.
Not just the block and tackle of the business, but how the sausage is made and how the fun is had, right?
Yeah.
It's all good stuff. And I'm glad you mentioned a back of the house person, because you did all front of the house right there when you were talking about who to interview. And I felt that line cooks were left out there. I was offended.
And a lot of
I was
times, line cooks are line cooks because they don't want to talk to people, right or wrong.
Maybe
because all those line cooks
talk
are
to
like,
people.
Man, I'd like to make the monies that the servers and bartenders are making, but I would stab somebody before the shift was out, right or wrong.
Well, no, we're pirates and swashbucklers. Said it before. Yeah, we're surly folk. I'm one of them. I can say it with love. Abe, let's go back to the line cooks. So you didn't mention them at first, right? And what do you find with taking people? Is it maybe an out of their element thing? Like, you think front of the house people are just more bode well for talking to people, or
I think the communication and the how do I put it? We were talking about this with my sister yesterday. Some people, while they can communicate well, don't go out of their way to do it often.
Fair.
And some people will talk to anyone and everyone. And I think that generally when you go from front of house to back of the house, front of house people are just more comfortable in social settings and just talking about random things. Back of house people probably don't go out of their way. Yeah, I'm not trying to blanket it, but generally speaking,
of course,
it's not something that they probably do as often as a front of house.
Well, so here's the predicament, right? Because you have the back of the house folks who are putting on the show that makes for really good social media content, the flames, the saute pans, and things like that. How do you get that person comfortable talking in front of them?
Get them in their element.
That's it.
Get them in their element, because if they're cooking, they're doing something. They're not worried about what do I look like, and do it. Pose the question to where they don't even know they're in the interview. So
it's less interrogation and more documentary.
Be getting them cooking on your phone, and ask them a question, but just back up a little bit so you can see their face actually answer the question. But truthfully,
that's
and
right.
they don't feel like they're being interrogated.
Well,
they
listen,
don't feel.
As a cook, when I get in my groove with a saute pan and a knife in my hand, the world around me disappears.
Yeah.
Because it's my bailiwick. That's my passion. That's what it's what I've lived for. My whole life is preparing food for other people, and obviously I like to eat. But when I get in there, everything else shutters off.
Right.
I can promise you, put a knife in my hand and let me chop some garlic, and I'll talk on camera all day long without a problem.
Sure.
Set me straight up in a chair with some pearly white chef coat on,
You're
and
not thinking about it.
I'm wildly uncomfortable. Yeah, that's it.
You're not thinking about it.
Yeah, that's it. So let's go back to, you do get those employees on. What's that mean for the owner operator? Because I understand when you guys are out on site, you will actually talk to the staff, and you will find some jovial folks that are interested in social media. Yeah. Tell me about that a little bit. Is it? Have you ever made a difference in their lives? I mean,
well, I would challenge any operator that if you feel like you have that person on staff that could do it, because like you said, there's no operator that the first thing that they want to do when they wake up is go create their social media content for the day. You've seen those reels that say, I am a small business owner, which means that I am also a content creator. So here's my content. Right. You know what I mean? It's not the first.
And I'm an HR manager. And I'm also an accountant.
All the other things.
And I'm a chef and a front of the house manager all at the same time.
Yeah. So,
I do 10 careers.
I always tell the restaurant operators, if you have those like aspiring TikTok and Instagram stars that want to have their face out there, see if they would be interested in running your social media page, or at least helping you gather content for it. And, give them a staff meal. Hey, every day before your shift, you can have whatever you want to eat on the menu. The only thing I ask is that you get some good content of it and throw a post out there. You know what I mean? Think about how powerful that is. If number one, you don't have to think about it. You got somebody, they feel like they're being compensated. They feel like they've got an important role. They're getting to eat their food. It's a win-win-win. If you can find that, and not everybody has that. Not everybody has someone that's willing to do that. But I always challenge, think about your staff. And if you have somebody that can wear that hat and wants to do it, it's a win for everybody.
Well, a lot of times as an employee, you want to carry as much value as you can for an organization, and I find that with the high level succeeders anyway, is they don't shirk away from responsibility or accountability or being involved, right? They want to be involved. So I can only surmise that it means a ton to that person, right? Like if I give you an opportunity to shine with my organization, do something you love, that's got to bode well for me from a stickiness standpoint. In the days of labor shortages and retention issues, that's just another little thing, a feather in your cap to keep employees longer, to keep employees motivated, to keep them engaged in your operation. Also, it benefits the business as a whole, right? So it sounds like a multifaceted kind of vertically integrated stack of wonderful here that you're talking
Yeah.
about. I absolutely love that, man.
Yeah, if you can find a way to make it work, it's just nothing but benefits.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. And I know we speak idealistically, but this stuff really happens, right?
Absolutely.
You've seen it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
What else you seeing out there?
As far as other things that I really think play into making good reels, the music you pick.
Really?
The music you
So
pick.
somehow I'm not surprised you put a lot of priority on music.
100%.
How many songs do you cycle through?
And sometimes it's literally the first one pops up, and I've made myself get better at if it's a fit, just use it. Don't go look for the perfect fit, because I've had days where the first song pops up, oh, that would work, but I really want to go, and you spend another half hour looking for music, and finally you're like, I got other things I need to do today, and you go back to the first song.
Right.
So don't be too much of a perfectionist, but also, all of us are. I don't think that it takes a musician's ear to be able to tell this song works or it doesn't for the reel. If it's
Go back to that word vibe.
If it's a quick moving video and things are flashing from this to that to this to that, use an energetic song. You know what I mean? Get something that's got a beat that's moving. If you can play off something. Sometimes I go to a place and a Chili Pepper song will be playing while I'm taking the videos, and I go, this is the perfect song, and
That's
I just
awesome.
write myself a note. Yes, we're using Chili Peppers for this. Sometimes it takes a little bit more like searching, and there's been times where I've put the work into this reel. Like, I've put the work in. There's reels that I put together that have taken me 3 and 4 hours to put together, because I want to the restaurant that I'm telling the story for deserves it to be told right.
Right.
And in that sense, if it takes me an hour to find the right song, whatever.
Yeah, the difference is, though, is you're telling the story for someone else. It's a higher level of responsibility because you're accountable for someone else's brand, right? So when you go to 3 hours, don't be discouraged out there if you're listening, because how long can you put a reel together, like a quality reel? If you were a restaurant operator, how long does it take you?
I would say the majority of my reels take between 2 and 3 hours. By the time you do everything, editing up, finding the song, putting the post together, tagging the right people, getting your set of hashtags, probably between 2 and 3 hours. And I know that that's way more than most people have to spend. But, with looking at someone who deals with the algorithm every single day and pays attention to what works and what doesn't, I can ballpark you how many views my reels are going to get based on, what's the secret to a reel. I promise you that if I just smash something out in a half hour, 45 minutes, it would get 5,000 views. Mm-hmm. And the ones that I take my time for get 250,000 views.
Really?
Yeah.
That's wild.
And when it comes down, all of those things play into it. The hashtags, the music, the content, the way that it's seamed together. But there isn't a substitute for a good quality piece of content.
Understood.
That is what's going to have the most legs with how the algorithm pushes it.
No, can you speak on how like a template would work in it? Because again, I'm thinking through an operator's lens here, and I'm thinking 2 to 3 hours. Man, a half hour was a lot of time. Now you're talking 2 to 3 hours. Is there a way you can templatize it? Does it become easier as you do it once you kind of get in a groove per se, where you can start churning out content at a faster rate?
I think for an operator, 100%, because I think for an operator, you find the 4 or 5 styles of reels that are working, that are in your wheelhouse, and then you just say, okay, this is building a dish. We know that. It's 5 simple videos. Let's do one of these a week. Let's build 1 dish a week. Building a drink, same thing.
And you're already doing the work anyway, so you might as well film it, right?
Right. Same thing with the drink, building a drink. 5 components to this drink, quick template, tell a story of the restaurant, start with a sign that's got your logo on it, pan past some of your employees, show a little bit of food, show a drink being poured, and go back to the branding. You know what I mean?
Sure.
That could be a template, quick story. And yeah, for an operator, you don't have to, I'm dealing with a different restaurant with a different vibe, a different flavor, different staff every single reel.
Right.
So I have to readjust. I have to say, what's the best way to paint this picture? Where
also you haven't lived their brand their whole
100%.
life. Yeah, they founded the brand.
So and definitely you don't have to spend that much time. You can get it dialed in. Like I said, find the 4 or 5 styles of content that you want to release and just do it consistently.
Sounds like recipes. Yeah, we do well with recipes in our industry last time I checked. Yeah, what else you got, Abe?
Really, let's see what else I have on my list here. So we talked about the right video editor. We talked about the right content, video quality. A lot of times when I go and I'm doing a little consult of like helping people, like they're shooting on really low. Their phone camera is capable of much better quality than what they're using.
Yeah, like the new 4K.
All you got to do is go put it in the settings. I want to
it.
shoot. Now, the other thing, don't shoot in 4K.
Okay.
Instagram and TikTok don't support it yet.
Really?
At some point, I imagine they will. But at this point, if you're shooting your video in 4K and editing it to 4K, it severely downgrades the quality when Instagram and TikTok try to grab that and render it to what their capabilities are. And you'll end up with a really grainy video that doesn't have good movement as far as like panning shots and things like that. I always tell people shoot in 1080. And if you can shoot in 60 frames a second, that's the highest quality that TikTok and Instagram will support. So shoot in 1080p with 60 frames a second. And if you're using a video editor, it always gives you the option when you're saving the video, what quality you're saving. 1080p, 60 frames a second is going to be the best that you can get for those two.
No doubt. I mean, that's a sage-like advice right there, because I would have thought film with the highest quality possible.
With the highest quality. We talked about telling a good story. We talked about picking the right song. The only other thing that I had on my list that I think is really vital are the right hashtags. And I think hashtags, everybody, it's like this really mystifying thing.
So I gotta stop, because like there was a period of time on Facebook where people thought hashtags were just like combine a sentence that's funny and then put a hashtag in front of it. But you're telling me they have a purpose.
They do have a purpose. And, I actually have done a lot of, and you guys can do this too. Whenever I'm talking to someone about hashtags, I encourage them to, on Instagram, you can actually search hashtag Eat Local Ohio. And it'll tell you how many posts have been posted that have the hashtag Eat Local Ohio. And I haven't looked at it in a while, but I'd venture to guess that there's probably between 150,000 and 300,000 posts that have that tag.
So uses that hashtag.
Yes.
Right. So if I'm looking for something Eat Local Ohio centric, I just search the hashtag and then boom, every post that mentions Eat Local Ohio is right in front of my face for my digestion.
Yeah, and I always tell people to use this tool. The way that I break it down that I think makes the most sense is think about your following. If you have 500 followers and you put a tag out that's got 5 million tags, that's a little bit ambitious. The likelihood that if I'm scrolling through video reels, that yours is going to come up in any type in the first 50 or 100 or even 5,000 is unlikely. So I always try to say swim in waters that you can swim in. You know what I mean? Like if I've got 50,000 followers on Instagram, I'm looking for hashtags that have probably between, my sweet spot, I look for hashtags that have between 25,000 and 100,000 tags.
So that way you can be a big fish.
Because I can be a big fish in that. And I actually do, I'll play games where I'll go and I'll put in hashtag Eat Local Ohio. If I am swiping through reels with Eat Local Ohio, even as a big player in that game, I might have to scroll through 20 reels before...
You are Eat Local Ohio.
I know. And I still have to scroll through 20 reels before I see one of my own.
That's crazy.
Now, I'll put in hashtag Ohio Eats. And hashtag Ohio Eats has 40,000 posts with that tag. I'm every 4 or 5 ones. Like I dominate that one. But it's because I've chosen my hashtags. And every single reel, I have my 20 that are staples of I want to be a big player under this hashtag. So I have lots of content that's under there. And my content is quality. So the engagement is probably a lot higher than most of the posts that have that tag attached to it. So my likelihood is very great that I'm going to come up really frequently under that hashtag. So think of hashtags like that. How many followers do you have? Can you swim in these waters, or are you a little bit out of your league? Build your 20 hashtags, post them consistently, and play that game. After you've posted for a month solid, put that hashtag in, watch the video reels and slide through. Are you coming up in every 10 or 15 then you're doing your job. You know what I mean?
So that hashtag thing just absolutely blew my mind. I can't get over it. Right. Like it's, but again, here we are back in, I feel like maybe, and forgive me, a little overwhelmed because now it just got real complex again. Right. So if I'm an operator and I have that same feeling,
I'll build your hashtags for you.
You'll build the hashtags for
I
you.
literally
So I can
will
call
put
you. I can
together
just
a
call
template.
Abe.
I'll look at where is your restaurant located? What style of restaurant food do you serve? And I will build you 20 hashtags that use them every single post that you make and fill in the rest. If you're featuring soup, put the hashtag soup on there and you'll be in that stream with 5 million posts.
So listen, I'm gonna put the money where your mouth is here. I'm gonna give your contact information in the show notes, and any independent restaurant can reach out to you and get some help on marketing.
100%. Whether you're Hillcrest customer or not, I will come out. I will teach you what I know. I don't know everything. I'll probably learn a few things from you guys too.
So you don't have to be a customer. You just have to be an independent restaurant.
As long as you're a local independent restaurant, it would be my pleasure to come out and understand a little bit what you do.
Dude, that's unreal.
Help you get better.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Well, Abe, listen, man, thank you so much for being on here. I appreciate it greatly. These tips are evergreen. They're gold. And in the ever confusing, and ever changing arena that is marketing, I think you've really boiled down some really simple pro tips here. Incredible to have you on finally, man. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it, brother.
My pleasure.
This is a high quality pod. Thank you, everybody.
Take care.
Adios.
Thank you for listening to Restauranttopia. The gratitude that we have for each and every one of you spending your precious time to listen to this podcast is immeasurable. Please make sure to tell a friend about this podcast. And also, if you have any feedback for us, visit us on restauranttopia.com and drop us a line. You can also subscribe on your favorite place to listen to podcasts. Thank you and have a great day.
We also want to thank our sponsor, Hillcrest Food Service. If you are a local independent restaurant and are looking for a distributor who has chef and operational consulting, provides marketing support, does menu reviews, and most importantly, wants you to be successful, reach out to Hillcrest Food Service at hillcrestfoods.com.
Is there a perfect mint song?
We talked about.
I was going to ask if he writes his own songs. Like how many originals has he slipped into restaurant reels, right?
Yeah, I was waiting for and this one's off the new album.
Yeah. Because I do that now to pay homage to my grandpa. Like if I go out to restaurants and they don't have meatballs in their menu, you're looking for it. Like my grandpa's recipe for meatballs is probably on like 5 or 6 menus now across the state.
Wow.
And it's kind of like my sneaky way of just paying homage to Gino Civillo. Like shit, you're not like. And I don't know if they kept it or not, but they're always good meatballs.
I have found that mint songs
in.
don't really translate to food that well.
I mean, the name's Mint.
Mint.
Yeah, that's food.
Maybe a mojito. I don't know.
Yeah. There you go.
That's meta. You can the mint mojito song.
But I've thought about, because, you have these people that write these weird little songs about lobster tail and chicken nuggets, and they're totally doing it to monetize on what the power of social media is. Like, I've thought,
So mint would never sell out, is what you're saying?
Nah, mint won't sell out.
They're not posers, man.
No. We're true.